All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, your empowerment coach, helping you to live better, love better, and be better. I am joined again by my amazing wife, Tarsha.
Hello.
And we are talking about one of our favorite shows that we've been watching from the very beginning.
Yes.
But we're into season 3, so we wanted to do some reaction and recaps and all that fun stuff with it. So if you have not yet done so, go ahead and do what?
So
What do they need to do?
They need to subscribe.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. That helps us, one, get this so that more people can see it. But also let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on this show.
Yep.
And some of the other things that we're doing. So definitely appreciate that here. All right. So you ready to jump into it?
Let's jump into it.
There's a lot. This one was, I think we said the Twilight Zone episode.
I call it the Twilight Zone because I was like, what am I seeing? What is going on again? What? Where did this come from? It's been interesting.
And then the trailer, we'll talk about the trailer at the end, but there was some stuff. But let us know again what your thoughts were on this episode because there's some stuff. So we're going to save one of the relationships that was really a mind blower. Right. We're going to save that for a little later. So make sure you stick around for that. But let's talk about we said who?
Alex and Brian.
Alex and Brian.
Yeah. So this was where the family and friends were coming out for the ladies.
Yep.
And we talked about how that's important, like your friends meeting your significant other, you know, those that you're thinking about having a really serious relationship. So the ladies had their girls coming out with questions and questionnaires and, you know, lie detectors, whatever they needed.
All that fun stuff
To find out what these men are thinking. And so Alex's friend asked some really good questions like, hey, have you ever cheated before? You know, have you been faithful in past relationships? And Brian seemed to have, again, a problem with communicating.
Brian has a problem saying what needs to be said and being honest about it.
And being straightforward.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, and so the fact is that, here's the thing. We're not talking about someone who is, you know, fresh out of high school, let's say fresh out of college, and their dating history is not extensive. Right. So the fact that he's in his probably mid-30s, late 30s, somewhere in there. Yeah. At some point, chances are he's cheated.
Yeah, he's 36.
Right. Even if it was just I cheated on my junior prom date. It happened, right?
Counts, but okay.
But I mean, that's let's be honest. I mean, that's a question that I can say this is what happened.
Right.
So he has a problem doing that, and we saw that even with Alicia because we saw Alicia last week.
He couldn't be honest that he wasn't gonna come back.
Right. She wanted to Netflix and chill. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to go watch Hulu.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it was a matter of, I think Brian needs to communicate better.
And be straightforward.
Be very straightforward.
If you learn from a mistake, you learn from a mistake. If you haven't learned from a mistake, be honest about that.
But here's the thing, that Alex's friend was like, okay, he seems cool. He seems like a good guy.
Right. She didn't want to change her. And she didn't want to change Alex's opinion, meaning the friend. But she was saying, girl, you still seem guarded in a sense. And why are you still guarded? But that was a very good question for Alex to look to say, you know what? Why am I guarded? Why can't I feel like I put down my guards totally with this person?
Are there signals that maybe I don't want to admit that I'm seeing? Or
always go with your first instinct.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always better. Now, people don't realize cutting it short now when you can, then getting entangled later is a whole lot better.
And in this environment, you can investigate a little further.
Right.
Without a full-on commitment.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, she needs to pay attention to those things. Yeah. All right.
Well, and Jay and Simone finally had their little talk. Yeah. You know, Jay wanted to really kind of get to the bottom of why Simone went the direction that she did.
Just as a reminder, last episode, Simone was like, "Oh, by the way, I saw Jay going into the room and went to without his shirt on." And it was talking to Joy. So it was like, okay, you were being a little shady there.
Oh,
right?
Not little. She was throwing shade.
She was palm tree shady?
She was palm tree shady.
She was shady.
Yeah. So, and Jay meant it, I mean, to catch the statement like, oh, I don't like the drama, so I'm going to keep it pushing. So Jay might be a little turned off with that and might have decided to move on without messing with someone.
It looks like his two choices right now are Winter and Joy.
Yep.
And so
Yeah, so let's talk about they had a date.
they had a square date.
A square date.
It was
So it was Joy's friend,
Mm-hmm.
it was Winter's friend,
Mm-hmm.
and Edwin and Jay were at the dinner party, and being sequestered.
being grilled. Yeah, it was. So, what one thing that I think was an unfair dig against Edwin was his support system.
Right, because they were talking about that he was saying that his mom and his sister are his biggest support system as the women in his life, which I feel like is good and noble for a man to really care about his mother,
Right.
and that he has a good relationship with his sister. That means typically that he is when it comes to women, he can communicate,
Right.
and really has a nurturing.
Right. And so the feedback that was given was pretty much that, you know what, they didn't like the relationship. The friend didn't like the relationship of the mother, and the sisters thought that they were, as far as boundaries.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it would be incumbent upon him to set those boundaries.
Right. And it's a good question, something for her to think about.
Right.
But not necessary to have to worry about.
Right. Right. All right. And then with Winter, with Joy's friend,
Yes.
she asked some questions.
Yes. Talking to Jay. Saying, hey, Jay, so who's your number one, Joy or Winter? And so I felt like he gave a good answer. He was like, you know what? Me and Joy connected. She was the first person I met, I talked to. So she, we had a little bit more time together than I had with Winter. So currently, that's why Joy's the first pick.
Right.
Now Winter had a little, don't want to be, second fiddle.
Right. No one wants to play second fiddle.
Right.
So, but the friend kind of dug a little more. Was like, oh, that was a good salesman answer. But I think I like the answer.
I liked it because it was honest.
It was honest.
It was a real honest answer. Especially when you're in this situation. Like, I met Joy first, and we
that's
connected.
what I vibe with first.
So yeah, she's gonna be my first because she gave her first impression, and so that's what sticks with you.
Yeah. All right, and then you had Adriana and Rasheed.
Yes.
So Adriana, just as a reminder, Adriana is in some respects caught between Rasheed and Kalfani.
Right.
She's
less than at the Kalfani.
Yeah, and her friend called her on that. Her friend was like, "Look, the Rasheed seems to be more your style, more your speed and everything,
and that's typically her type."
Right.
But she's like, well, I'm trying something different, And I don't know if she mean like she need to try something different in the bedroom, or I mean, if that's what you're lusted after.
But that's exactly what her friend was like. You mentioned all the looks, but not how he makes you feel. So is this a issue of lust, right?
Right. She may want him to make her feel.
Hey, listen, we're gonna keep it PG.
Just saying.
Hey. We'll keep it at least PG on this. All right. But so it's interesting there. Adriana Rasheed seems to be moving forward in some respects. Right. Until we get to the trailer. And I'll just say this in the trailer.
Don't go there. Let's talk about.
Fine.
Okay.
Right.
So we have Denise.
Yes.
And she got her
too.
Who
has, at least in this episode.
Right.
She's calmed down some.
She's keeping her options open, right?
And she's not as aggressive, because I think that's in this episode she's not as aggressive as she's been in the previous episodes.
Well,
now she's still not as light as she was with Anthony last episode.
Right.
But Denise is more, for me, she's a little more tolerable this episode.
Wow, tolerable is a very strong word too.
Yeah, because I'm not feeling Denise.
I think Denise
9 times out of 10.
I think Denise is really trying to open up and fill out Anthony. Anthony's a nice guy. He seems really down to earth and everything. She likes built guys and different things, so he fits kind of that mold. So she's just trying to be open and be in the process and not get in her head.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. So Denise has her friend comes out, meet both guys, which I thought was good that she brought both guys.
Right.
Now the guys, I don't think was feeling having both of them there like they were in a beauty contest.
Right.
But it was,
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So, at the end, the friend was feeling Calafante. I keep saying it.
Calafani, yeah.
Calafani. I'm going to rename him. And so, So in that case, she was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "I think I'm in love." Denise was like, "I think I'm in love." She don't find the man of her
she actually
life.
said, "I love him."
So again, it's so early for you to have caught so very strong feelings, and sometimes you got to pull that back because you got to keep even keel. You got to be clear minded to make some decisions. Sometimes, we get all this feeling when we need to really stay strictly like, I got to stay even keel to make sure I'm making the right decisions for me later on in life. So,
speaking of catching feelings early.
The
very first seemed like couple.
Man, Chris and Naya was it.
It was like,
oh, it's on.
We were thinking from like the first 2 episodes that, you know what? Just let them go ahead and go off and be on by themselves.
Well, that's what Chris said. He was like, ain't nobody else.
Right.
Again, here we go. Getting connected too soon.
Listen. All right. So Chris and Naya had a date with Naya's cousin.
Correct.
Kiki.
Right. And so they're playing chess, and the question comes up about finances.
Well, first of all, shout out to Chris for being an ordained deacon.
Oh, yes, he is an ordained deacon.
He's an ordained deacon.
Bless the Lord.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes, and Naya was loving that. Oh, we could be having babies right now.
She said, we could be pregnant right now?
Since I know you're a deacon in the church or ordained.
We could be pregnant right now?
Ah, Lord Jesus. Yes, Lord.
Listen,
hey, so, so then we're like, okay, they're still getting this good connection. Then the cousin goes to the money. When we start talking money, people start acting funny. So they start acting funny. So poor Chris, he was like, so we could split the mortgage. And see, I'll take the Cox bill, the internet bill. I'll take the cell phone bill.
Chris got so caught off guard by that.
I'll take the water bill.
He just was like, "Look, we're gonna split. I
was like, okay, Chris, slow the roll. And then Naya like, what? You want me to pay for who? When? Where? And they were like, really?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Naya switched. Her head turned around. She was like, "Oh,
she did a complete 180. You could just see the expression in her face change.
It was just like the life got sucked out of her. And then Chris was like, "You know what? I think y'all two need to hang out. Y'all haven't had time." Chris ran out of there.
He did the most awkward exit.
Oh my gosh! It was terrifying.
Yes.
I felt bad for Chris. I think he was really trying to give the best answer. And then he goes, I'm a radio host. I don't make no money. You never want to say you don't make no money either. I just, whoo. And then from then on, the episode, like Chris was at the pool with Joy and Simone. He was like, I messed up. Chris knew. He's like,
he at least had enough emotional intelligence to recognize that something got off right there
real quick.
So he was like, okay, how can I
answer the question? He's like, I know that a man is supposed to take care of the home. I know, but he's like, I know so many women that want the independence to help in the household and pay for certain things. And that's why I was saying I would split everything, but I understand. And I know you were like, hold on. My husband's like, so what does she do with her money? If I'm taking care of the whole house, what is she doing with her money?
And here's the thing. And that's why this whole conversation really deserved a longer conversation.
It did.
Right? Because then it's a question of, and what's also, I think, feeding into this is that Naya is ready to get pregnant like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Naya, again, and I don't mean like she had some miscarriages.
Right.
So she's wanting to be a mother. She's wanting, and so I applaud that. I think that's great. But I think that this environment, again, she's looking more for who can I connect with to be the father of my children and get me pregnant, as opposed to who can I build with, because that's a good question because if it is a matter of what are we going to do with our money?
Right.
Then, okay, that requires me to think about, okay, do you want to, because she's a business owner.
Right.
So do you want to give your business up? Do you want to sell your business, stay at home? Then, yeah, we'll figure out how I can take care of that.
If the love is there, right?
Right.
Because it's about the love. Because once that switch, she was like, let me check out what Edwin is doing. See how Edwin finances is.
Bolted to Edwin.
And so she's like, so, we asked Chris this question, but, I want to pose this question to you. See where you coming from. And she places questions, said, what about finances? What about the household? And Edwin was like, you know what? I feel like I'm supposed to take care of my wife and my family. I believe in a lot of streams of income coming in. And Edwin is used to be in the military. So a lot of time when you're a veteran, you got
some military benefits.
You get some benefits coming in from that. You may have like a retirement coming in. Plus, a lot of times if you start early in the military, you get out and you're still like in your late 30s, early 40s. So with a retirement pension and working another job, you can do a lot of different things with that. So, you're in a different headspace.
Right. And then also the other thing to think about is that with this group, you're talking about 34-year-olds,
right? Later,
as opposed to 20-year-olds. So this is a different conversation that you might have when you're 20 years old. Because we have a daughter, and I don't think my daughter, or I would expect any young man that meets my daughter, I don't expect him for her to be able to live the way I would be comfortable with her to live. I don't think that anybody would be like, you got to pay for everything.
His parents are rich,
unless he got Rockefeller, or he ain't gonna have Trump by his name, but.
Or if he's like in the NFL, I don't know. But it's like, unless you come into a lot of money really quick at 20s, everybody's struggling together. Right,
especially in this economy. Let's just be honest.
But again, now she's like putting the moves on Edwin. She's kissing Edwin. Edwin's like, where is this coming from? Edwin's
even like, what the heck?
He's like, you done turn up and win 100 on me.
Again, this was the Twilight Zone episode. Let us again know what you think in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, but let us know your thoughts, because this was the game changer and the shift for us.
So let's get to Tonis Tavern, because this kind of adds up where we coming from on this.
So everybody's kind of talking through who they feel and what have you.
What the friend said.
Simone's friend couldn't make it. What have you? Cool. Everybody's kind of going through. Tommy comes with, hey
Naya, so how did it go? With Chris, because Chris is the boo. What are you talking about?
I wasn't sprung on nobody.
Hold on now. Tommy was like, hold on. It was you and Chris. It was the only thing I heard about was you and Chris.
She said this. Now this is the part that I'm like, okay, you done lost me. She said, and I quote, I was obliging his interest.
Yes. Chris who?
I don't know Chris.
Yes. She just like flat out like all of a sudden now she don't even know who Chris is. She's like dogging Chris at this moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, her whole spirit about him has changed. So right then and there, I'm questioning, did you really have feelings for him?
Right.
Or because you thought he was in radio, that's my ticket because you got money? I'm like, I'm so confused about...
Yes, he was the one that was showing her major attention at first.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this is about, you got to live with this person.
Right.
And if you're talking about having kids with this person, you got 18 plus years with the person.
Right.
So this is where Naya turned me off.
She threw me for a loop because I'm like, if you're saying that this is important, this is your deal breaker, you would have think that she would have talked about finances like day one. Like, you know what? Before we go any further, I'm looking to have the traditional family union.
Right.
I'm expecting to stop working and stay home and try to pop out a baby. And that means I might have to lay on my back for 9 months and not work while I'm trying to produce a child.
And granted, at the beginning in the casting special, we did see where Naya said that she as a young girl dreamed about being the stay-at-home mom
and taking care of her husband.
That's well and good.
Handle your business.
But if you've not communicated that to Chris,
and he's smitten. Oh my God, he was so smitten.
So I mean, we're not even gonna play around with it. Or Chris got sent home.
Chris went home.
And I'm sorry, the look on his face.
He looked like he had lost his best friend. Like he was in a relationship with this woman for like 5 years. And they just got broken up.
Because again, it came out the blue. It was
out of the blue.
Or as far as what we're seeing, it came out the blue.
Out of the
it was
blue.
A conversation that, didn't go as well.
Right.
But it was like all of a sudden now from that conversation, that negates everything else.
I mean, you didn't even give the brother a chance to say, like, I do stuff on the side. This is how I take care of my house. You don't even know if the brother got a home. Like, do you own a house? Didn't you ask these questions ahead of time?
Right.
Then you know that he finds ways to take care of stuff.
Right.
If his passion was radio and he's like, hey, I do all this other stuff to make sure I'm comfortable because I'm ready to love. I've never known a man who did not start dating, who didn't feel like he could take care of a woman. That's why he said, I'm ready to settle down.
Right.
So for you to just turn him down without even giving him opportunity, I mean, you weren't interested.
Right.
You were looking at for the money.
Right. So
anywho.
So as far as the other round table,
hey, I say you better check in this episode. Don't miss out.
All right, and then the preview. So the preview
what is
next
going
week.
on?
Listen, this week coming up.
I would just say there's some new connections and people are hooking up that you weren't expecting. I'm gonna leave it at that because we gonna have to talk about it.
Yeah,
I want to figure out how we get from point A to point 25.
Because this is a different one.
In an hour.
It's a different one.
It's a different one.
All right, so that's our review and recap for the latest episode of Ready to Love. Make sure you check out some of our other videos. We also do recap and review of Put a Ring on It, so that'll be up also. And then we have relationship tips, and there's other things. My Chop It Up podcast is there. Also, go ahead and go to the website. I've got, for all of my YouTube subscribers, I have a 10% discount on all of my product, all the t-shirts, the book that I've written, all of that. You get 10% off for being a viewer of our YouTube channel. All right? Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so that's it for you today, guys. We love you. Be blessed. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.